That might be the most useful lick in all of jazz. It's officially known as the Cry Me a River lick, popularized by Jerry Cooker in his book Elements of Jazz Improvisation. But the reason I call it the most useful isn't just because it sounds good. It's because this one musical idea is actually a key that unlocks 6 different chord types, essentially solving 90% of the harmonic problems you'll face when improvising. My name is Nathan Borton, and in today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to take this one line and turn it into endless vocabulary. Let's get started. Okay, so first, let's get this line under our fingers. Let's look at the most standard way to play this lick. So we're going to start with our pinky on this A, and we're going to go and the way that we're going to pick this is that we're going to go down, up, 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 pull off, down. And the rhythm is 1, triplet, 3, and notice I'm not separately picking those upstrokes. I'm not going down, up, up, up. I'm sweeping through that. I'm going down, sweep, up, pull off, and then a downstroke. And for this lesson, I'm going to stick to this specific fingering and picking pattern. Why? Well, because when you lock in one fingering like this one, you stop thinking about the physical shape and start visualizing the starting note. We will unpack that soon, but for now, find a fingering that works and I want you to stick with it. We can also play this lick in multiple positions, starting on the B string, on the A string, and on the G string. Now let's talk about how this line is a key to other sounds. The notes don't change, but the context does. Let's look at the 3 most common ways to use this. So for most of us, when we learn the Cry Me a River lick, we learn it as a minor lick. So for this position in this key, we'd be playing that over a G minor chord. So we would start on the 9th, which is A. That's one way, but look what happens when we keep the exact same notes, but change the bass note, or the chord that it's played under, to a C, or C7. Now we're starting on the 13th. And this highlights those natural, beautiful extensions of the 13 and the 9. We can even play it over a major chord starting from the major 7th. So in this case, that would be B flat major 7. Okay, so now let's get spicy with some of these sounds. If you want that modern jazz sound, think Pat Martino, George Benson. Take this shape and play it over an altered chord. If we do that, we're going to be starting on the sharp 9, so we get a G flat altered sound. This works because it perfectly outlines the altered scale, getting the sharp 9, the flat 9, and the sharp 5, all in one lick. It even works over half diminished chords. Play it over an E minor 7 flat 5 starting on the 11th. Or go fully Lydian with it and play it over an E flat major 7 sharp 11 starting on the sharp 11. That is 6 distinct harmonic colors from one single physical motion. I would say that's pretty efficient and useful. Of course, knowing the theory is great, but the real magic happens then when we put this into a chord progression. Let's look at a 2-5-1 in F for today. First, we are going to play the Cry Me a River shape over every chord, just changing the starting note. So remember from before, our different qualities of what the shape could be depends on the note that we start on. So over a minor chord, we would start on the 9. Over the 5 chord, let's make it altered, so then remember we start on the sharp 9. So for this one, that would be E flat. Let's play it up here. And for the 1 chord F major, remember if we want a major sound, we would play it off the natural 7. So that would be, of course, E, right? Alright, now let's be honest with that. If you play it just like that, back to back like I just did, it sounds kind of like a math exercise, right? It sounds a little stiff. But remember, this is the first step of our learning process. To make this sound like actual music, you use the Crimea River lick as a pillar on just one of the chords in our progression and fill in the gaps with other concepts. For example, we could use the ever-useful Jerry Cooker concept, digital patterns. Notice there, I just used a digital pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 1 on the 2 chord, the Crimea River lick on the 5 chord from the sharp 9, and then I connected it to a simple 3-note digital pattern, 1, 2, 3, 1, down the F major 7 arpeggio. Or we could use arpeggios to fill in the gaps, like this. Or we could also use pre-existing language to fill in the gaps between the Crimea River lick, kind of like this. So to show you exactly how all this works on the fretboard, I wrote a full etude for my Full Access Patreon members. It takes this Crimea River lick and weaves it in and out of a full set of changes, connecting it with bebop language, arpeggios, and digital patterns. And I even recorded a bonus video breakdown explaining every choice that I made in that etude. If you want to see how a pro connects these dots, that etude is the best way to do it. Okay, so how do you actually get this into your playing? Here is my 3-step practice checklist. Number 1 is the relationship guide. You need to know your starting notes. If you know the starting point, the shape does the rest of the work. I know memorizing start on the sharp 9 for altered and on the 13th for dominant is a lot of math to do in your head all at once. So to set you on the right track, I actually made a cheat sheet for this. It's a PDF that charts out all 6 starting notes for you. It's included with the lesson files and the guitar profile, which is great if you need to loop the tricky altered sections or slow it down to 50% and practice along with me. It's a great idea to keep this cheat sheet on your music stand until this is all second nature, and you can get that again over on my Patreon. Number 2 is the 1 fingering rule. Learn this using only 1 fingering shape initially. If you keep the fingering consistent, you stop thinking about the shape and start visualizing the starting note in relation to the chord. And number 3 is to contextualize. Don't just loop the lick, practice playing into it and out of the lick with the concepts we discussed like digital patterns and arpeggios. Again, the etude over on my Patreon is a great source for that. Thank you all so much for watching this video about the Crimea River lick. This is truly one of the most useful licks, and if you transcribe any solo, I guarantee that it'll come up in it in some form of how we talked about in this lesson. And also make sure to check out Jerry Cooker's Elements of Jazz Improvisation. He really goes in depth on the Crimea River lick, as well as some of the other licks that we could cover in the future. Also on the note of Patreons, I want to give a shout out to those Patreons. Without you guys, none of this is possible, and I truly appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And that's it for this lesson. And remember, until the next one, to always keep swinging.